Hello and welcome back to Medium Rare. My name is Rag Reynolds and today we have 3 stories to talk about. But before we get into those, I would like to encourage you to check out my Twitter, check out my Instagram, and if you feel like supporting the channel, check out my Patreon because my videos are often demonetized. Links, as always, are in the description down below. And now our first story today comes from the land down under, Australia. You know, that place that doesn't exist. It's a meme, don't hurt me. If you're not aware, Australia has recently been suffering through a severe bushfire crisis. New South Wales has been the area most affected, with over 600 homes being destroyed in these fires. Across the country, many more homes have been destroyed, and at least 6 people have been reported dead, with many more being injured. As things currently stand, these bushfires are the worst that the nation has seen since 1984. And now the reason the fires seem to be so bad this year is because of a record-setting drought that occurred earlier in the year. From January until August this year, Australia saw the lowest amount of rainfall in the eastern regions ever. And this means that there has been a lot of dry fuel for the bushfires to eat through. And to make things even worse, a 19-year-old volunteer firefighter has just been arrested on an alleged 7 counts of arson. The fire service have described this as the ultimate betrayal to the fire service and the fire crews out there who are already under tremendous strain. Overall, this whole thing is quite terrifying if you live in the area, and I do not envy you at all if you do live in any of these areas where the bushfires are very bad. And to make matters even worse after all that, Australian officials have come out and said that the worst of Australia's bushfire season is yet to come. Anyway, be sure to let me know what you think about this story in those comments down below. And now let's talk a little bit about something that I found quite amusing just because of the responses to it, and I think it's going to be quite interesting to have a conversation about this in the comments. Indian food, okay? You love it or you hate it. Some people are maybe a bit about it, but there has recently been a huge uproar on Twitter after a professor called Tom Nichols posted to his Twitter saying, "Indian food is terrible and we pretend it isn't." And now he was posting this tweet in response to someone who had asked people to post their controversial food opinions. And now obviously when I look at this, I just think, okay, it's an opinion. The man doesn't like Indian food, whatever. But this has sparked quite a heated debate. I mean, we have a lot of people who were just taking a bit of fun here. We're saying your opinion's wrong. For example, we have this tweet here that says there's a difference between controversial and stupid. Imagine going through life being this flavorless. Dude, really? Dude, where in India have you eaten? A billion fans can't be wrong. Offended as an Indian, we have some of the best food possible, you barbarian. And now those tweets were nothing too serious, just people disagreeing, but then we get a whole slew of people, a whole range of different individuals who have been very upset over this. Here we see a tweet that says, "Today in white male solipsism, from the school of women comedians are horrible and non-white literatures are terrible and hip-hop is terrible and anything that doesn't cater to me and reinforce my conviction that I'm the center of the universe is terrible. We who?" And in response to her, we had someone comment, "Jesus lady, calm down, it's just food. You're embarrassing the rest of us Indians. My kids are Indian and they don't like Indian food either." But that wasn't the end of this, because we had a lot more people who were angry and very, very upset at this man. Bad and ignorant opinion aside, can we talk about how racist it is to dismiss an entire range of cuisine because of its nationalist association? When I read this, I am beyond baffled. Like, I don't see how anyone can take someone saying, "I don't like Indian food," as a racist comment. Oof, I probably would have went with a specific dish instead of slamming an entire culture of 1.4 billion people. But I guess the goal was to be controversial, and you definitely met that goal. Yikes. Again, I mean, I don't understand why people are taking this so seriously. I mean, could someone please tell me, if you agree with these people, these things they're saying, can you please help me try and understand why people are so upset by this? Counterpoint, your ancestors literally committed genocide in pursuit of the spices that make up the base of our cuisines. When people say Indian food or Chinese food, it's like saying European food or African food or even American food, so I don't take this personally. I forgive them for they know not what they say and know not what they know not. I agree with this guy. I think that's a very fair comment to make. When someone says Indian food, it means just the same as saying Chinese Chinese or American or Scottish food. I mean, we have Scottish food here, and I would say that most Scottish food is quite crap, honestly. I don't like most of it. I don't think it's racist to say, I don't like this type of food. I mean, it may be a bit of a generalization because you're saying I don't like all of this sort of thing, but I don't think it's racist or it's bigoted or it's wrong to necessarily say I don't like the stuff that comes from here. I mean, for example, I don't like Mexican food because I don't like anything spicy. I don't like spicy food, and Mexican food, to my understanding, is almost all spicy, so I don't like Mexican food. That doesn't make me racist because I say I don't like Mexican food. I personally just think that people look for anything to be upset about these days, and people maybe just need to calm down before they start jumping to saying, oh, you're a horrible racist, or you're this, or you're that, just because someone says, I don't like this food. I think that's making a huge leap there. Anyway, that's just my opinion. If you disagree, please feel free to let me know what you think in those comments down below. I'm quite interested to hear the opinions on this one. And our final story today is a big one. Onision has been banned from Patreon. This is such a big story that mainstream media is actually finally picking up on Onision. I mean, there's been so much drama, so much chaos with Onision in these past months, these past years, and the mainstream media has just kind of left him alone. But we actually have The Verge now reporting on Onision. If you're not aware of what's been happening up until this point, I'm just going to give you a brief little summary. Essentially, Onision has recently been accused of grooming young girls. I made a little video on this a month or two ago, so feel free to go check that out if you want extra details. And in response to all these grooming accusations, Chris Hansen, you know, that guy who used to have that show To Catch a Undesirable, he is now the guy who's kind of leading the charge against Onision. He has a YouTube show called Have a Seat with Chris Hansen, and he has been sitting down and doing interviews with alleged victims of Onision and his husband/wife, Kai/Lanybot. And now the reason I say Kai/Lanybot, husband/wife, is because most people do know Onision's spouse as Lanybot. However, in recent months, Lanybot has now become known as Kai and is using complete male pronouns and whatever. I don't want to start a debate or a fight about that, so from here on I will just be saying Kai. Anyway, Chris Hansen has been sitting down with all these different people who have been telling their different stories. And in response to this, Onision has been doing a lot of videos where he is making fun of what's going on. He's not taking anything seriously at all. Even after Chris Hansen has said that the FBI are now looking into Onision, Chris Hansen has had conversations with the FBI. Onision is still seemingly very jokey about it, not taking it seriously. If you look at his Twitter, it's just filled with really disturbing sexual tweets, even though I'm pretty sure he's well aware that the majority of his audience are younger people. As far as some of the accusations that the FBI are maybe looking into, I do believe personally that the more serious accusations that have been looked into are probably the ones that are against Kai. Kai is standing accused of sending and receiving underage nude images of minors. To me, that seems like the most serious and evidence-based charge out of all those that we can see at the moment. That's not to say that he hasn't committed numerous other reprehensible actions. I completely agree there. I just think that if anyone's going to get caught on anything, it is likely to be Kai getting caught on these charges of soliciting these images. And now, as far as why Patreon banned Onision, this is down to something that happened after Billy Dawn Webb was speaking to Chris Hansen. So Billy was speaking to Chris Hansen, and in this interview with Chris Hansen, she made it clear that she was scared of Onision. And hours after this interview, Onision started sharing on Twitter some private text message conversations between him and Billy. And in one of these screenshots of these text message conversations was her phone number. So Onision had doxed Billy's phone number, and a bunch of people were messaging her, a bunch of people were calling her. Obviously, this is wrong, and eventually the tweet was taken down. And now a Patreon spokesperson has confirmed to The Verge that the reason Onision was banned from Patreon was because Onision violated their bullying and harassment policy as it relates to doxing. And if you're not aware as well, Patreon have made it clear in the past year or so with the banning of the likes of Sargon of Akkad that they will enforce their policies, they will enforce their website guidelines even on actions that are taken outside of their platform. So if they have a certain rule about saying a certain word, for example, and then you go and say that word on Twitter, Patreon then reserves the right to ban you on Patreon for the actions you've taken on Twitter. In comparison, a website like Twitter does not reserve that same right, so Twitter will not ban you for something you say on Patreon or Facebook or Instagram, but Patreon will ban you for things you have said elsewhere. At the point of being banned, Onision had around 500 patrons. He was making a decent amount of money from the website. He had another Patreon account under the name of Julia Love, which was his love doll, and that has also been banned shortly after his main account was banned. And now this whole thing's a huge deal because people have been fighting against Onision for years. I mean, especially this last sort of year, these last few months with Chris Hansen's involvement, things have gotten pretty serious. People are really angry at Onision, myself included. Lots of people want to see this guy face judgment. They want to see him face justice. They want justice for these alleged victims of Onision, and also victims of Kai. And for a long time, Onision's numbers on YouTube, his views, his subscribers, they've been dwindling. They've been going down. He's not performing so well. And this, along with him taking some hits due to the adpocalypse and YouTube not giving him as many ads and flagging his videos as not advertiser friendly, has resulted in Onision losing out on a lot of income. That's why Onision started his Patreon in the first place, to go somewhere else to have a secure income that was fan funded rather than having to rely on Google AdSense payments. Maybe now he's going to look to an alternative such as Subscribestar if they'll have him, but I don't know if they will. I don't know if he even knows about these places. I don't know if he'll look for it or not. After news broke of him being banned from Patreon, Onision did post a video to his Onision Speaks YouTube channel that has over 1.6 million subscribers, and this video was titled Wow. And now I can't show you any clips of this video because he will copyright strike this video. He copyright strikes any video that includes his footage, or at the very least he puts a copyright claim in so that he can take the revenue from that video. That just adds another thing to the list of many other things that Onision needs to be held accountable for, abusing the copyright system. But in this video, Onision was acting very unhinged, very upset. It seemed as though he was acting, although I'm not sure how much of it was acting. I mean, I'm sure he is feeling quite annoyed over the fact that his Patreon has been banned. He is not happy, but I think he's acting it up. He's trying to make it seem that he's not that upset. So instead he posted this video that seems as though he's having a fake sort of breakdown. He even pours a bottle of kombucha over himself while he does a little dance. It's quite a disturbing video. Reactions on social media to this decision by Patreon have mostly been positive. People have been applauding Patreon's decision to ban Onision. We also saw this tweet from Keemstar, who said, Onision is 100% in danger of hurting himself or others. He's completely gone mad. I see him telling himself that's good acting, but it's rooted in truth. He's lost most of his income. And now, opinions about Keemstar aside, I think he does bring up a good point here. People have been worried about Onision's kids, have been worried about Onision's state of mind for a long time. There are conspiracies out there that I'm not going to get into, that Onision has firearms in the house and he has all this other stuff. I don't want to talk about that, but people are genuinely concerned about Onision's state of mind and whether he might actually harm himself or someone around him now that he has lost all income. I mean, what is he going to do now? He doesn't have his Patreon, he's not getting much money from YouTube. Where is he going to make his money at this point? He doesn't really have any source of income that's as big as Patreon would be. He's lost most of it. And when a guy like Onision, who has spent so much time on the YouTube platform, that's where he's made his living, he's dedicated his life essentially to YouTube, and now he's being essentially told you can no longer make a living doing this. That's going to push a man to the edge. I don't know what we're going to see now, but it is a concerning thing to watch for. As far as my opinion about all of this, I think that it's great that Onision was banned. I mean, Patreon is what was enabling him to continue doing what he's doing, to continue getting away with what he's doing. I mean, on his YouTube, if you go look at his videos, they are thousands of dislikes compared to a few hundred likes. Most of his videos are this way these days. He gets overwhelming negative attention in comparison to the positive attention, and that speaks volumes. That means that he is not going to succeed on YouTube alone. He needs Patreon. He needs those hardcore fans, the 300 who are giving him those likes, to go to his Patreon and give him money so he can keep doing what he's doing. It doesn't matter if all these people hate him on YouTube, so long as he still has these people on Patreon giving him that money. But now that he can't get that money on Patreon, he has to look elsewhere. That tactic doesn't work anymore. He can't survive having all this negative attention. Not when he doesn't have his patrons anymore. So I think it's going going to be very interesting, and it's also very concerning because we need to keep an eye on what Onision is doing now. We need to watch for what's going to happen. Anyway, be sure to let me know what you think about all of this in those comments down below. And just as I started uploading this video, there was a new update. Onision posted another video on his YouTube channel where he announces that he has started a new website called onisionfans.com, and essentially it looks like this is what he is planning to replace his Patreon with. If you go to this website, you can see it says, "Hey everyone, this site was just launched and is now accepting subscribers. With your subscriptions, you will gain access to many perks that were available on the Onision Patreon. Thank you for supporting this site. This product was selected to give you guys the best experience possible, far more organized and efficient than before. Also, brand new forum and tons of other cool stuff coming, subscriber only. As always, this is an adult only 18+ site. Please do not join unless you are an adult. Thank you so much." And on the right hand side, you can see the different tiers that he's offering: $5, $10, $50, and $100 tiers. Now, as far as how long this website will stay up, who knows? Who knows how long this will stay up? With any luck, something will be done. Maybe this will be taken down as well. But at this point, it does look like he's going to be directing his fans to this website and new forum instead of the Patreon. And that's where I'm going to end today's video, so please make sure to let me know what you thought about any and all of today's stories in those comments down below. Make sure to leave a like if you haven't already. Hit subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. Also turn on those notification bells. And if you want to support the channel, check out my links in the description down below. And until next time, my name is Rag Reynolds, and this was Medium Rare.
Rag Reynolds, the coolest lad you'll find. Rag Reynolds, a Scottish mastermind. He's subject to everything he wants and worship his every single word.